Good luck. I have it written in my notes. Okay.
Good evening, and thank you for coming to the July 26th council meeting. It is 7:35 p.m. Mrs. Arcisi, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Bilkey.
Here.
Ms. Brandt.
Here?
Ms. Tully.
Here.
Mr. Ventura.
Here.
Thank you. And now I ask Tom O'Brien, American Legion Post 801 chaplain, to lead us in prayer, and then following to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and we ask everyone to remove their hats.
With bowed heads, let us pray. Almighty God, hear our prayers as we gather this evening for our city council meeting. We ask for your guiding hands to aid our council members and our newly appointed mayor so they may work together on the various programs and projects that are embraced by our community. Give our leaders the transparency demanded by their constituency, and in return, allow the members of our community to show respect for the council members and our mayor so that they may perform their duties as required. We ask, Almighty God, that you shower your blessing on all our city employees who work tirelessly to ensure that the work of the council and mayor is carried out in a professional manner. And lastly, Almighty God, we ask that you embrace those members of our community who suffer from mental or physical illness, as well as those who suffer from financial hardship. Bring to them thy happiness, good health that they deserve. Amen. Amen. Now with hand over heart, please face the flag and join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaplain. First thing on the agenda is acknowledging the receipt of the financial report dated June 30th, 2018.
No, we got it via email.
Oh, I acknowledge it. Yes.
Well, I make a motion to
I make a motion to accept it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to public comments. First on the list is Sylvia Hannikin. If you come up to the podium here, state your name and address. That's for the fire department. It's not a public comment.
It's on the list.
He's fire department, not a public comment.
Okay, I get it. Not a problem.
Chief, will you keep the time, please?
Good evening. My name is Sylvia Hannikin. I live in Hampton Drive in Macedonia. And I'm here to comment on two items on the agenda, and one that isn't. As I have indicated before, the fire department fire levy, which has been renewed and is in fact up for renewal again this year, is not on the agenda. So I assume that means that you folks have stayed with the June 7th decision not to put that on the ballot and to forego the state funding from that. I have a couple of comments about that. One is that I believe that the fire department should be supported by that levy simply because if other levies do not come into fruition, or we have a major downturn in income tax, which can happen, it did happen in 2009-10, where we were down over $1 million in our income tax. We were putting the coverage of the Macedonia residents at risk. So I believe that we should renew that. I just want to make that point. I've made it online and I'm making it here just for your consideration. Second, I want to talk about the we have a number of items on the agenda here related to the charter review meetings that were out of cycle in this past few months. And I did review the notes, the extensive notes from the charter review, and they're quite good notes. But a couple of things about this. One, the previous charter review on the regular cycle was videoed. This one wasn't. So I think that a lot of residents are going to miss some of the point of these changes to the charter that are being proposed. I would, my own view of this is that it's sort of looking backwards, these changes. Macedonia's development process has been functioning relatively well. It's got some problems with it, but there's no major change that needs to be made off cycle. The other items on there I'm going to comment at another time, but I'm going to make another suggestion. And that is that if we're really looking forward, I looked at some of the cities throughout Ohio and how many places have either a council, city manager form, or what they call an administrator form, which we had discussed in the previous charter commission, where there would be a mayor, an administrator who actually is hired to professionally run the city, and a council. And when I looked at the number of towns, small and large, that have gone to this form of government, I think that's the direction the city of Macedonia should be taking. One of the quotes from this is, focused on tradition and founded on tradition and focused on the future. And these folks are really the kinds of people who really, really know what they're doing when you have a city manager in there. They know all the structures, they know how to operate in an environment with very, very objective and tight administration. And one of the cities has on their website, the structure combines political leadership of elected officials with appointed professional city manager who can manage the city. I would recommend that the citizens look very closely at what is being proposed here, because I think most of it is pointing backwards. And I think if the council is not willing to consider a change that is that significant to the city, then I think the next cycle, or perhaps even an initiative of some kind, should be taken to move us to a more professional form of government. So that's my comment for tonight. Thank you very much.
Just a couple notes based on those comments. With the levy that we have proposed, there's a number of things we need that are not addressed by the comments that were made. So if we talk about our fire ladder truck, which is $1 million to $1.3 million, there's no funding for that. Secondly, what was missed is we need police cars, and what we've done for many, many years is we've kicked the can down the road. We haven't had the funding to purchase those vehicles, and this is another way that we can get dedicated funding to give those guys the things they need to do their job. Third thing would be when we talk about fire squads. There's no money in the budget dedicated to replacing our squads, which we know with any vehicle that we have needs to be replaced. Those are around $200,000 to $250,000 each time. We kick the can down the road because we don't have funding in place for those. So there's a number of things that are not funded, and that's why we talk about where we are today. To just renew it would be irresponsible, because we have a fire truck that is 26 years old and found out this week that it is beginning to fail. That's pretty serious for me to hear that that vehicle is failing. There's a number of things wrong with it. We're trying to Band-Aid it, but that's not something I'm proud of, and I'm going to admit to the public now that, you know, this is where we're at. That's why we're coming and asking for the things we are. We're not lying about where we are in terms of our needs. So it's something to think about when we talk about why we need this funding. There's not money in the budget to support all the things I've talked about. Second thing is, we've talked about a city manager in this community many times. The irony is Ms. Hannikin has ran for mayor twice. Why do you want a city manager now? Moving on. Mr. Aberth, we're going to go a little out of order and context here today, but there's an exciting announcement that I feel is necessary to have now. It's not necessarily a public comment, but it's something that I feel we need to let the public know about where we're at in terms of our fire department.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce that the fire department has been awarded a federal grant in the amount of $138,000 towards the exclusive purchase and installation of a diesel exhaust removal system for all 3 stations. This is it's a grueling process. It's, you know, trying to get any money out of the federal government is challenging. But I'm happy that we were awarded this money. This takes us several steps ahead of increasing the safety and health of our firefighters by removing the diesel particulates that are in our rigs that we are around every day. So I'm happy to announce that.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Good work.
Mayor, I would just like to add, as Dave said, we were one of 25 departments thus far through the federal process. It is quite hard. It is a large packet that has to be completed with a large narrative. There's a ton of work that goes into this. Dave specifically works on this when he's on shift. It is not an easy task. He has gotten grants in the past. I think we're up over, just in the last couple of years, a couple $100,000 that we got for turnout gear. With firefighter cancer risks really high, getting cancer. We know we've lost some local in Beechwood. We lost a captain there. So this goes along with that as far as trying to run safer with the diesel particulates, that when the trucks start up, when we're going on calls, it gets on our gear, it gets throughout the station. These will be provided in all 3 stations to remove that diesel fumes as the truck starts and pulls out of the building. So big hand to Dave. I'll tell you, he did an outstanding job. This is 2,700 fire departments in the state of Ohio, but across the United States, we're over 50,000 fire departments that are all grabbing at that money, and we got it in one of 25 in one of the first rounds out. So a lot of good work. So
Great work, and I think I speak for council in thanking Mr. Aberth for his hard work, and it's appreciated not only by us, but I'm sure the community as well, so thank you. All right, moving on to pending or new legislation. First on the agenda is ordinance number 2.
So Mark, I'm going to make the offer and then make the amendment after.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I thought we were going to.
I apologize. We're going to go a little out of order here because we have an appointment that I want to get in first. So first on the agenda we're going to do tonight is ordinance number 74, 2018.
71. 71, right?
Well, we're just going to go to 74 and then the last one.
I'm going to go backwards.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'd like to offer ordinance number 74, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Dylan Natko, position of part-time firefighter in the city of Macedonia.
What's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post according to law. Ordinance number 74, 2018, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 74 passes. Chief, would you like to give an introduction? And sir, after you're introduced, you have to give a 10-minute speech. It's kind of standard for us.
he's ready for this. You know, we are very selective when we look and receive applications. Captain Ripley personally goes through the barrage of tests, interview with the officers, background, polygraph, psychological, drug testing, physical. It's quite extensive. We have to get very, very good employees to come in. Dylan is exactly that, a state certified professional firefighter, paramedic, and he has served our country in the U.S. Marines, numerous deployments overseas. So we're very happy to have him. He scored excellent on every test that we gave him, and we're very happy to have him here as a part-time firefighter paramedic.
Awesome. Would you like to introduce your family?
Yeah, this is my mom, Stefania, my dad, Dave, and my girlfriend, Kara.
Nice. Beautiful family.
Brian, did you have anything else to say on Dylan?
He was a crash, fire rescue crash technician with the Marine Corps, so he also has fire experience. We just hope he doesn't have to do that in Macedonia.
And we let him out of his speech. He was supposed to say his speech.
I was wait. I wanted to give it a second, but it's okay.
and we'll swear you in later, so.
And we're gonna go out of order again, because I know another person's here that we're gonna put on the Recreation Committee, so I was gonna move to resolution number 80, 2018.
Mr. Mayor, I move to offer ordinance, or resolution number 80, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
A resolution confirming the appointment by the mayor of Andrea Fink to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
What's your pleasure?
I offer that we pass and post ordinance, or residence number 80, 2018, the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome to the committee.
Just so she also have to do a speech.
If you'd like to speak, you're more than welcome to.
When's the first meeting?
August,
Okay.
next month. We had to change it because we haven't, we don't have here on Wednesday.
All right.
Oh, yeah, check.
We should go back to that.
Congratulations, Andrew. All right,
Now we're gonna go to the other appointments.
71.
71, 2018.
Okay, Mayor, I move to offer ordinance number 71, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the final appointment by the mayor of Daniel Edwards' position of full-time firefighter paramedic.
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 71, 2018 and post the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 71, 2018 passes. Are any of these other folks here? Oh. Mr. Edwards.
No, is not here.
Okay, gotcha. All right, moving on to 72.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 72, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the final appointment by the mayor of Janae Tony to the position of part-time firefighter.
What's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 72, 2018, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to 73.
I move to offer ordinance number 73, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the final appointment by the mayor of Daniel Pittman to the position of part-time firefighter.
What's your pleasure?
I offer to pass and post ordinance number 74, 2018, and the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 73, 2018 passes. Moving on to ordinance 75, 2018.
Mayor, I move to pass I move to offer 75, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Thomas Masteller to the position of part-time corrections officer.
What's your pleasure?
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 75, 2018 and post the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 75, 2018 passes. Moving on to ordinance 76, 2018.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yes, you
did I miss him? I apologize.
Back it up.
I didn't know he was here.
Oh,
Mr. Masteller, would you like to introduce your family and
This is my mom, Cindy, my dad, Doug.
welcome? No speech?
It's just a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
That's the best speech ever.
congratulations.
Okay, moving on to ordinance 76, 2018.
Mayor, I move to offer ordinance number 76, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
an ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Cassandra Mateka to the position of part-time corrections officer.
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 76, 2018 and post according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 76, 2018 passes. with us or not?
She is not here. She's at work, Geauga County.
Gotcha, thank you.
Could you just give a real brief explanation of
Yeah,
what their
this-
role is? Because people might not understand what part-time correction officer means.
Basically, they work in the jail, they book the prisoner, release the prisoner, do the daily checks, do the hourly checks, do the feedings. They just do virtually anything that pertains to the prisoners we have in jail. Danny will be new to the position. Cassandra used to work in Lake County. She was a sergeant in Lake County Jail. She has since transferred to Geauga County. She comes with a wealth of experience. Well, Tommy is going to be new to the position, so we're eager to have both. We have a lot of openings, so we're eager to get them in, get them going.
Thank you. Welcome to the family. All right, now that we're going to make this thoroughly confusing, we're moving back to ordinance number 2, 2018.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I move to offer ordinance number 2, 2018 for its third reading by title only.
Second?
An ordinance providing for distinction to the electors of the city of Macedonia, a proposed amendment to section 303 of the charter relative to the mayor's legislative powers.
What's your pleasure?
I move to offer a motion to amend this ordinance to sections 1 and 6 to where it will say November 6, 2018 is the date of the election. Is that correct, Mark?
Yes, correct. To generally amend. So
Generally amend,
November
so that the date would be
6,
November
2018 election date, correct.
I think everyone kind of.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Now I will move to pass and post ordinance number 2, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance number 2, 2018 passes. Moving on to ordinance number 3.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I move to offer ordinance number 3, 2018 for its third reading by title only.
Second.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia, a proposed amendment to sections 401 and 402 of the charter relative to legislative authority and the composition of council.
Mr. Mayor, again move to amend this ordinance number 3 to add the date November 6, 2018 to any general dates that needs to be amended on the ordinance.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Now I move to pass and post ordinance number 3, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay? We're not,
Oh, that's number 4.
this is 3. We're not passing 3. I thought it's
No,
the,
it's 4.
It's 4.
That's
this is
number
the, I thought 3 was to change the number of people on council.
It's composition of council, correct.
Change the composition of council. We're gonna put that on the ballot?
That's why we're voting.
No.
All right, I vote
Yeah,
no.
so
I
this would
vote-
change it to a 6-member council.
I vote no on that then.
I'd like to
Put it on the
rescind
ballot.
my vote
You need
if
to go with
possible.
the-
We should have reviewed
We
this.
got a roll
Why
call.
don't you do a roll?
Let's rescind and do a roll call, please.
What are we on? May I have a
Number 3.
Number 3.
clarification, please?
Yep.
Do you want to expand on a little bit for,
So this would amend the charter to add language to both sections 401, 402, and 408. And the changes would be to effectuate a change from a 5-member council to a 6-member council.
Now we'll do a roll call.
okay. Mr. Bilkey?
So I'm going to vote no. I'm sorry that I voted yes at the beginning. I didn't realize this was the one. So there was a charter review that they reviewed if they wanted to add members of council. I'm going to let Jessica expand on it. So I'm going to vote no, and I'll let her explain the process that they are recommending, and they recommended no, so that's how I'm going to vote according to the charter review.
Ms.
Well,
Brandt?
I'm voting no on this. The Charter Review Committee decided, our recommendation, I was on part of that committee as the council representative. We decided not to advise the council to vote yes on this, to put it to the voters to have 6 members of council. We felt that it hasn't been that long that there's been 5 members of council, and any problems that possibly could have arisen from having 5 members of council, we feel that we addressed in other items that we are proposing to council. So that's why I am voting no. I don't think that we need to put it to the voters to increase the size of council at this time.
Ms. Tully?
My vote is yes. I've served under both. 6 worked a lot better than 5. And this lets, if it goes it's to the ballot, it's up to the electors to vote yes or no.
Mr. Ventura?
I'm going to vote no. This did go to the electors previously and not that long ago, and they voted to make it 5, away from 6. And as long as I've been viewing things here, I think we're working okay with this at this time.
Ordinance number 3 fails. Moving on to ordinance number 4.
I have a question about, yeah.
Number 2 gave the administrator legislative powers. They would not be needed, so do we?
Well, it's a tie-breaking vote. Theoretically, you could still have a tie among council that the
True.
mayor could vote, so.
We could have a tie tonight.
True, that's
We
true.
could have a tie even with 5 if one person's missing. You always need something that addresses a tie, because it could occur.
You're right, and we have had things in the past that we'd like the mayor before. It would be, if it was tied, it would go to the nays, correct, Mr. Cece?
You need a majority vote to pass. A
So,
tie
yeah,
would
so it
fail.
would fail.
But you're correct, Mr. Bilkey. I think the initial way that came to the forefront was in the discussion of changing the composition of council.
Okay, so we're kind of at I mean, I guess I'm fine with the yes vote and giving the administrator the power to break a tie if there is any. When there are 5, it's less likely to happen. But I guess I would, so do you guys have any comments on it?
We've already passed
We already passed it.
that ordinance.
Okay. Jessica, do you have something to add?
No, it was something that was recommended in tandem with, to not pass ordinance 3, but, you know, giving it thought personally and knowing that it will go on the ballot, you know, seeing what we're composed of today, it makes sense, just like Mrs. Tully said, that there should be a tiebreaker available. So I have no problem with setting that to the ballot.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinance 4, 2018.
Sorry about the confusion.
Sorry.
So I'm going to hold ordinance number 4, 2018 at second reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 4 held its second reading.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia, a proposed amendment to section 413 of the charter relative to the conduct of council members.
Yes.
Moving on to ordinance number 5, 2018.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Council, I'm going to offer ordinance number 5, 2018 for its third reading by title only.
Second.
Second's not required, but that's
Sorry, ma'am.
okay. That's all right. We get so excited. So excited. An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia, a proposed amendment to section 1001 of the charter regarding the composition of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Can I speak on this before?
Well,
we
let
vote?
me offer the amendment for
Okay.
the dates.
That's
So
it.
I'm going to offer a motion to amend the dates to November 6, 2018, in the whereas sections 1 and 6 are anywhere appropriate in the general sections. And so then I'm going
I
Second.
do need a second on
Second.
that.
We have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Now I'm going to move to offer, ordinance number 5 to same according to law, but it didn't come out right.
Pass and post.
I'm going to pass and post ordinance number 5, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Did you want to have discussion, Mrs. Brandt?
Yes.
Ms. Brandt
I
wanted
was
to
gonna
say
add that now.
something.
This was a recommendation, the initial recommendation was to add the mayor as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Charter Commission gave it consideration And we feel that it is important to have the mayor involved in the planning commission, but at this time, we didn't want the mayor to have a vote because it would change the vote from 5 to 6. So the language that we added was to add the mayor as a non-voting member. There's also language in there that says that if there was a member of the commission that was absent, that the mayor could have a vote in his or her absence. So that was the recommendation that was submitted, and that's the recommendation that I'm voting yes on. And I believe the rest of council will be voting yes on. And we felt that it was important for the mayor to be part of the planning commission because when planners come to the city or developers come to the city, they often meet with the mayor first before they get to planning commission, and there are things that can happen in the meeting with the mayor that do not get translated over to the planning commission if the mayor is not involved with the planning commission. So we felt that this would add some cohesiveness to relationships between developers and the city.
Any other discussion? I may also add that in the last Planning and Zoning Commission I attended, there was a lot of things that were talked about that had I not been there, I would not be able to weigh in on some of the discussions and talk about where we were, where we were headed with it. So I think it was actually a benefit to have me there to talk about the things that they had questions about. So it actually sped up the process. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
I did not hear who was second on Mr. Bilkey's adoption. Who was the second on that one?
I believe it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, let's do that over.
No, you didn't vote. You didn't vote. You just had discussion.
I was asking what his pleasure was.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that part.
So I'm gonna move to pass and post ordinance number 5, 2018 to the same according to law. You gave me a second chance at that again. Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I don't think we did. I thought it was on the amendment.
We have voted on adoption.
It's okay. It's all good.
It's all right.
It's all good.
Oh, boy. Okay, moving on to ordinance 66, 2018.
I move to offer ordinance number 66, 2018 for its third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
One mayor. One mayor. An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia, proposed amendment to various sections of the charter relative to council consideration of executive action.
I offer to amend this ordinance with correction to all dates relating to election on November 6th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion?
So Jess, you want to describe what this one is about too for us?
Charter bills. Okay, so this one was, we decided that we actually proposed this as a charter commission to change the way that department heads can be removed. We did not feel that council needed to approve a removal of department heads, but we did allow for the appeal of a department head if he or she felt that his removal was unjust, could appeal to the council. So the council can still take its own action, which is already in the charter. The council can take its own action with 4 votes to remove a department head, but when the mayor takes an administrative action to remove an administrative employee, that council will not vote on that. So that's what this is about.
Any other discussion? What's your pleasure?
I move to pass and post ordinance number 66, 2018, and the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 66, 2018 passes. Moving on to ordinance 69, 2018.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 69, 2018 for its second reading by title only.
An emergency ordinance amending sections 18201B, 18203, and 18204A of the codified ordinances of the City of Macedonia, Ohio, in order to increase the city's income tax rate 0.25% starting on January 1, 2019, and continuing thereafter and submitting the same to the electors on November 6th, 2018.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinance 77, 2018.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I move to offer ordinance number 77, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance reaffirming Fund 301, the Bond Retirement Debt Fund.
Rhonda, can you touch on this before we vote?
Certainly. So Fund 301 is the Bond Retirement Debt Service Fund, and I think it had been established in the past. We never saw any legislation proving otherwise, that it was taken away or just canceled. So we're just trying to do some cleanup and make sure that we're establishing this fund so that way when we post the bond issuance debt service fund costs, we can do that in Fund 301.
Thank you. And what is your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post ordinance number 77, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 77 passes. Ordinance 78.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I move to offer ordinance number 78, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance amending ordinance number 97, 2017, relative to the annual appropriations for additional expenditures of the City of Macedonia for the period January 1, 2018 to December 31st, 2018.
Rhonda?
So for this one, we are amending the appropriation ordinance to take into consideration some individuals that were replacements, making corrections to hospitalization costs, line item costs in the various departments. And this is the net effect for the general fund is to decrease the appropriations by $103,600. We are increasing the appropriations in the emergency reserve fund to cover the 911 dispatch system that is being mandated by the state of Ohio. That's to increase the appropriations by $150,000. Making various changes in the street construction maintenance and repair fund 201. The net change of that is $0. Parks and Recreation, we're increasing appropriations by $1,600. The debt service, the bond retirement debt service fund is increasing appropriations to cover the payment of the 2 note issues that we previously had, the interest and the bond issuance costs, and they were increasing appropriations by $3,350,000. Capital Improvement Fund is being increased by $2,000. That is for the 2 $1,000 grants we received from NOPEC. And Fund 405, we're decreasing the appropriations for that by $3,150,000, and that is due to the fact that we're making the payments for the notes, the issuance costs, and the interest out of Fund 301 versus Fund 305.
Thank you. Any discussion? What's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post ordinance number 78, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 78 passes. Moving on to 79.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer resolution number 79, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
A resolution authorizing the mayor to take such steps necessary to apply for funding from the Ohio Public Works Commission, District 8 Public Works Committee, Program Year 33 for the Valley View Road Reconstruction Project.
So if I may, there's 2 things that we're applying for here. The second half of Valley View Road that we need to pave, we're doing the first half currently, costs around $1 million, we estimate. So what this is we're applying for either a 90% pay from OPWC, we pick up 10%, or it's a 50% by them, 50% by us. So all that adds up to money that we can utilize that's not our own, and obviously helps our coffer. So it's something that would be good for the community and save us some money, so not a bad thing. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that we move and pass according to law resolution number 79, 2018, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any other motions or legislative action? Hearing none. Any correspondence from the clerk?
No, sir.
On to the mayor's report. So in the transition, I wanted to kind of talk about where I'm at with my assuming the role. I've been on council for almost 11 years. Of those 11 years, 4 times I've been the president of the council, elected by my peers to hold that role. Very proud of that, and I appreciate the support of my fellow council members. Some things that I'm going to be working on are transparency and open dialogue. I want to make sure that there's always the ability to talk to department heads and myself and council if there's any questions about where we're at or where we're going, and make sure that that's something that's a high priority. I have the shared goals of the community. I think there's a lot of things that we read and see, and that may not necessarily be that of everyone, but we're going to listen, and that's something that we're going to be working on too. It kind of leads into the communication piece, which I think we failed at in the past. I've already began to work on some things where we're talking about the road program, where we're telling people, hey, we're going to be on your road, we're going to be paving on this date, there may be a delay. Anything that is pertinent to us, I want to have out there, and we're going to do a better job of that, and we're already beginning to work on that. Our website has been something that's not functioned very well in the past, and we're beginning to work on that as well with the help of Ms. Brandt. She's kind of her wheelhouse, so she's been a good help with that, and we're going to be rolling out some new things with that to the communication piece. The big thing is there's some new exciting potential developments coming into town. I can't speak to what they are yet, but I can tell you that I have had in my first 3 weeks roughly, there are some really, really exciting things that we could potentially be getting. So as those begin to roll in and we work through the legalities of those, I'm going to be hopefully announcing some pretty exciting stuff for the city. So keep your ears peeled. And that's all I have. Moving on to committee reports.
I've got none. I don't think we've met since the last meeting.
I gather council as a whole, I don't know if that's considered a committee or not. But
Council Cole is
I'll speak now. With the situation that has occurred and Councilor Molnar now becoming the mayor, you'll notice we have 5 members of council, but only 4 seats filled. So yes, we did put out an advertisement for applications to fill that seat. Those applications have been received, and we have set up interviews that will be occurring on Monday and Tuesday of next week. We have 11 applicants, and we will be asking them all the same questions and taking time with each one of them. I have, as the president of council, advised the mayor he's allowed to sit in, but it's council's decision at this point in time, so it's council's interview process and council's decision of who they choose. The reason I asked the mayor if he'd like to sit in is because if council comes to a draw and cannot decide on someone within 30 days, it reverts to the mayor to make that selection. So thought it would be beneficial that he would hear the same interviews, the same questions, and all the responses as we are hearing. The goal of council is to choose who will be sitting up here with us. It is council's responsibility. And knowing the 4 of us, we work pretty well together. I'm looking forward to the interviews. I've got to say, very excited to see that we're going to be doing this and the process has been established. And I want to thank everyone who has submitted. That shows your interest and your love for this community and for the residents, and I appreciate that.
Ms. Brandt, may I ask you, when is the next Parks and Recreation Commission meeting?
August 8th at 6 p.m.
If you all let me know, I'll make sure it gets on the master calendar.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for reminding me of that. That's another thing we added to our website. We're going to improve our calendar so that we're months ahead for any type of meeting that we have. So I know I find myself going to the city website to see the calendar, to see where we're at, and we're going to be working on improving that. So another good thing coming.
And that's part of the questions were, when are we having these meetings? We have special meetings set up for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We come out, we start out just like this meeting, and then we adjourn into executive session. The interviews are done in executive session. They are not public meetings. Then we come out and we adjourn. But we have it set for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, the interviews, Wednesday, is for the decision, as well as we have 2 items tonight that were held at second reading that have to be decided based on the fact they're ballot. And so if we want them on the ballot, we have to make that decision. We wanted to have some more discussion on them. So on Wednesday, there will be 2 items on the agenda.
Ordinance 4
Yeah,
and
4
ordinance
69.
and
Right.
ordinance 69.
Thank you.
Any other committee reports? Hearing none, we'll move on to department reports. Director Nadavanch.
I'm not sure if John has anything, that's why I was looking across.
Did you have anything?
Reports for Manhouse?
I usually talk at the end.
Well, we're actually going to move that to public comments in the future because I think it makes more sense at that point, but that's fine. You want to come up to the microphone?
I have to.
We wouldn't need to hear you unless you go to that microphone right there. It's hard to hear on that one, though.
Representing the Longwood Manor Committee, we're continuing to make progress. Manor's looking better all the time. Working on the patio, the south patio, and a lot of exterior work. The upcoming events we got something could be very interesting at our monthly meeting on Tuesday of this month at the Manor. Don Davis attended from the coordinator of the Wizard of Oz conference. And they're going to try to, he's telling me they're going to try to include the Manor in the activities for the Wizard of Oz. In that manner, they're a nonprofit. They distribute all their money, they say, so we would get, it'd be a fundraiser for us in a sense for that. He was talking about possibly having some art dealers who display art inside the Manor on the first floor. That's all in discussion right now. It's a ways off, so you know, we're looking at the safety considerations and all that involved with that. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Back to Director Nadavanch.
Thank you, Mayor. Update on the rec center addition going on. The exterior masonry walls are all up now. We're moving into the inside to start laying out the interior walls as well as bringing in the plumbing and electrical. Our roof structure is being constructed right now, and estimated time roughly for installation is the end of August, and that gives us time to work on our other mechanicals, the HVAC, and finish electric outside. So pleased that the walls are up and we're continuing inside and moving forward with the addition. Also at Longwood Park, we have piles of grindings up there that people will notice if you go up there that we are getting from the road construction. 2 different sections, one from Ledge Road from Northwood Village Project and one from our own. We are accepting all of these grindings because this will allow us to expand onto the walkways in the woods, and as well as fix some of the areas up along the driveways in the park that we use for grinding. So that's all I have.
Mr. Gelati?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. With passage of Resolution 79, we'll complete the remainder of the paperwork for our OPWC application and send that in. Otherwise, no further report at this time.
Thank you. Director Manley?
Thank you, Mayor Molnar. We are taking some of our classes outdoors, so we are going to have our first yoga in the park out by the lake in Longwood Park this Friday evening, which is tomorrow at 6:30. We're also going to have another one on August 2nd, which is a Thursday night at 6:30, and we are also taking some of our Tai Chi classes outdoors. The first one will be Friday, August 10th, and that will be at 10 a.m. So we invite people to come participate in these events. They are free, so there is no cost to sign up. The yoga event, we've kind of partnered with Numa, and I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but they're a Cleveland-based company who produce organic-based electrolyte sports drinks. They're coconut water-based, and we have samples at the rec center. We're selling them at the rec center now as well, so if anyone would ever like to try those, they're welcome to stop by and taste test or pick some up. We have open registration, which is currently ongoing for our fall youth sports, so youth soccer, youth t-ball, and youth flag football. We're all taking registration for all of those programs right now, and we have a lot of activities coming up in the fall. Still have a few weeks of our summer day camp going on, so any of those things, if you're interested, we have information on our website, and you can contact us as well, and you can stop in to register. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you for, I go to Chick-fil-A a lot, so I go through Route 8 and 82 all the time, and the two big signs that are up. Near and dear to my heart is the soccer one, and then I look the other side and saw, I believe it's the football one.
Yes.
Thank you. It's a great way to get the word out.
Mr. Mayor, you got your yoga pants ready for the outdoor yoga?
I do not. Director Hall.
Thank you. So just to give everybody an update on Rita, our income tax increased from June and July, and for the year we've accumulated $826,978.70 higher than this time last year. But please keep in mind that the general fund has only gone up $61,000. That $800,000 for the most part is going to the road program fund. The refund program, which is now over, for the year 2017, we've issued 483 refunds thus far for a total cost of $60,253.63 that we've refunded to the residents. I have about 70 refunds that I'm still having to go through and just check on, and I think we've gotten 1 extensions thus far. So we're in pretty good shape so far this year. And my last item is we completed our audit for 2017, and I'm proud to say that we received the Ohio State Auditors Award again for 2017, like we did in 2016. So,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can
That's
you
all I
also
have.
touch on, because a question that came up about the refunds, that sometimes Rita has to confirm those before you can send the refund. Can you touch on that briefly?
Sure. So when we get the refund application, we go into our Rita portal that we have, and we make sure that the individual has filed and that Rita has processed the return before we will refund any dollars. Because if a person still has a balance that they've owed, I have sent out letters saying that you still owe something. I can't pay you until you are up to date with Rita. So I've sent out a few of those letters as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Sure.
Chief Black.
I'd like to thank council for the appointment of our part-time firefighter. We're going to be working on receiving the money from the federal government Fire Act grant, and we're hoping to have the systems put in all 3 stations by the end of the year. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Director Gaddetti.
No report, sir.
Moving on to unfinished business.
Mayor, if you would, I'd like to make a comment. Under unfinished business, I'd like the residents to take note that Ms. Hannikin has now come to the last 2 council meetings, has made comments and/or accusations, and then turns her back on this mayor and this council and walks out without a response or explanation. Thank you.
I forgot to add one thing as well. Another thing very high on my priority list is NURSD. I have a meeting scheduled with them. I know there's someone in the audience that really wants to hear that, and I'm telling you that I'm going to be staunch with my stance on where we need to move forward. So it's on my mind. I have not forgot about you.
You're not going to do the survey?
I'm not doing any more
to
surveys.
do another survey?
Surveys are over.
Okay.
Any other unfinished business? Any new business?
I'll welcome you as the new mayor.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll do a fantastic job finishing this term out. And if you need anything from us in council, I know you're not going to hesitate to ask President Tully or myself or anybody here will more than likely help you.
Thank you.
Happy to help you, I should say.
I appreciate that.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks. Any other new business?
If not, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn into executive session regarding personnel.
So this would be under 121.22G1 of the Ohio Revised Code, I believe, to consider the appointment or employment of a public official or employee. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That's what I said.
And who was the second?
I second.
All in favor?
You-
Aye.
Easy for you to say,
no,
right, Mark?
so on this one, sir, you always have to have a roll call.
Let's do a roll call then.
Okay. Mr. Bilkey?
Yes.
Ms. Brandt?
Yes?
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Mr. Ventura.
Yes.
We are in executive session. Thank you.
Traditionally,